Also, I should tell you, I was literally this close to doing this entire episode with no shirt and just wearing these shorts because I felt like I would look exactly like Mowgli. And I was just like, that's risky biz, but
Yeah,
I still think about it.
you have been doing the solo act.
Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like. Anyways, in three, two, one. All right, shut up. I know we have a lot of scientists that listen to this podcast, and so I kind of just want to implore one of you out there to help me solve a problem that I've been having, and I think a lot of us have been. And it's if you could just find a way to fix that problem where you're trying to spread butter on toast or bread, mostly bread, and it's too cold. So it just kind of ends up in these chunks and like you're just kind of rubbing around mountains of butter and until you eventually poke through your bread. And it's just like, there's no happy medium. There's a way, like we're in the 20th century or close to, and it's time, so one of our scientist listeners, I know you're out there, just get to work. And what I mean by that, of course, is it's time once again for the Disney Pod Classics. My name is Mowgli because this is as close as I've ever looked like to him. And with me, as always, is my dear, esteemed colleague, Jay. Jay, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Two things. One, you said scientists like Ka, which was
scientists.
And yeah, I can be your scientist. You melt the butter.
Dude, no one's doing that.
What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, I melt butter in the microwave in a little cup and pour it over whatever you need. Pancakes.
How do you move the dead bodies you have stored in your house, you psychopath? Are you kidding?
It's not. I think it's quite common.
That. Really? They microwave the butter
before. Put the poll up.
All right, poll's going up. I think it's just tough, and someone should have come up with something that does it. Maybe a heated butter plate. I'm not going to tell you how to do your job. But either way, what we're doing, our job right now, is getting into this hot classic of one of these Disney movies. Here at the Disney Pod Classics, what me and Jay do is incredibly important. We grew up watching all the Disney movies just on repeat. As you can tell, got a lot of worn VHSs back there. Pretty sure Jungle Book didn't make it through, a couple of the moves, probably because of destruction, because of overwatching. But, we're almost 30, and it's time for us to kind of go through and look at each one of these films in chronological order and see what they look like now that we're older. So that's what we're doing. We've gotten all the way up to this one. As you can tell, Jay, I can't really tell. Where are you, bud?
I'm in the jungle.
Deep in the jungle.
Was just hanging out with King Louie and the boys. And
absolutely.
Yeah, they went to the bar and had some work to do with you. So thanks for that. I'll miss out on all the stories tomorrow morning, but so be it.
Such is life. 1967, The Jungle Book. This was obviously a huge movie worldwide, has been remade into multiple different live actions that I know Jay is like religiously against, but you know what? He can't stop the wheels of time. He's microwaving butter. So what did you think of this movie as you were a child growing up into the man you are today?
I definitely had it on VHS. I didn't watch it that regular. Like, I think if I redoed my childhood, I'd probably be much more into Jungle Book than I was. I don't really have a good explanation as to why. I did watch this in high school and in college very distinctly. It was the first time I had seen it as a older man cub. But this rewatch really stood out to me. I really enjoyed seeing this movie. And really trying to put myself into the 1967 mindset.
Yeah,
I think the mistake I've made with Jungle Book previously is that I would compare it to movies after Jungle Book. But really just zooming into the movies that we've seen so far and comparing to what we've seen before, that's really the best way to describe the Jungle Book phenomenon in 1967.
Yeah, that's impossible to disagree with. It is a whole new world, no pun intended, to watch these movies in order. And it does just seem groundbreaking every time you watch one of them. Although if you were to watch this right after some of the ones in the 90s, you're like, does it hold up? Yeah, it held up then, big time. So you liked it as a child. What do you think of it now?
It's complicated, honestly. I'll know by the end of this podcast.
Yeah.
I definitely have my complaints. I respect the movie a lot though, and watched some behind the scenes and making of that actually really helped the context of the story, but the characters, the story itself, I'm not the biggest fan of. And I don't think that's ever going to change.
Wow.
But I do like being in the jungle.
Tough
so
guy. Yeah, tough guy out in the jungle. Okay.
Yeah, I respect the hell out of it though.
Love this movie. Not great. Do love being in the jungle though. That is good.
Yeah, it's fun.
As a kid, I think this is a great movie. I watched it a ton, but there's always something about it that's kept it off of my like top 5 list. I think there's just like one of those things that's just like a little tick in the wrong direction where I'm just like, why don't I feel like great about this movie? Because it's got the characters that you want. In my opinion, I think all the characters are super well developed, awesome players, but it's just, there's something about it that it's just like, what's wrong? I think I know. We'll talk about it.
Can't wait to get into that.
Yeah. So I say without further ado, what do you know about this movie?
It was extremely successful. I was surprised. I had like double check the numbers, but it was one of the top animated movies of all time when this movie came out. It made 73 million on the first release, which, just for context, Cinderella made 10 million, 101 Dalmatians made 14 million, and Snow White made 66 million. But like that's big. This is like one of the most successful movies that Disney has ever made, and only had a budget of 4 million.
I think the total gross, it's over like 200 million or something, which just makes me realize we need to be putting a hell of a lot more millions into this podcast, because if that's the Disney return ratio, what are we doing? We're just waiting to blow up essentially.
Yeah, but, pretty much.
Yeah, very successful.
But also a huge contributing factor, not just because of the movie itself, but Walt Disney passed away 10 months before the movie was released. So if you can imagine, like if Walt Disney lived, if Sword in the Stone was the first movie that came out after Walt passed away, Sword in the Stone would have like double the revenue at least.
It's like when Michael Jackson died.
Exactly. Whatever movie was following his death was going to have a surge, and that happened to be Jungle Book.
Makes total sense. And it did do well. The things that I saw on this one, I don't know if you got this, but like the kid who was supposed to be the voice of Mowgli, I think his name was Dan Bailey, but I also could just be thinking of my fantasy kicker for the past like 3 years. I guess he had the contract. He was killing it, but production took 3 years and his voice changed and he was kicked off and it was given to someone's son. And I just think about bitching about that for the rest of my life. Like if they would just get their shit together, we could have wrapped this up in like a year. I would have been fine, but literally not up to him. It's not like he like blew it. It's just, they took so long that he couldn't keep the job, which is just brutal, especially when you see the check coming after that to this stupid younger kid.
Something very similar with Sword in the Stone, the movie before.
Yes. I remember that. Yeah. But the most important thing, and honestly, this thing maybe brings me, I don't know if joy is the right word, but it brings me more emotion than anything I've looked up for any movie. I decided to go the route of like, has there ever been a real life Mowgli? And there has.
Wow.
I can't even do this with the picture of this guy right here. I will put it up on the screen if anyone's watching. I've got to keep it together. Let's just put it this way. I'll give you the brief synopsis.
What a great Google search, by the way.
So much, dude. This is so much. Hunters in India found a kid or saw a kid running around, a 6-year-old running around with a pack of wolves. And they go back and they're like, actually, that's really not cool. We should definitely go get it. They smoke out the cave that they live in, kill the mother, and take this boy. Okay. This boy is been raised by wolves, legitimately. No one knows where he comes from. I'm just going to read you an excerpt from what I've got on him. The picture of him is so much, dude. But anyways, so his name was something, I forget his name, something Sanchar or something like that. Sanachar. So this is how they refer to him. Sanachar growled and grunted like a wolf, walked on 4, ate raw meat, sharpened his teeth by gnawing on bones like an animal. Though he wasn't mute, he only made animal voices. People of orphanage tried to work patiently with the boy, and gradually he started eating normally but did not speak anything. So they took him to an orphanage. He lived there his whole life. Sanichar lived a short life and died at the age of 34. He lived in an orphanage his entire life, showing little improvement. He was able to stand, walk, dress properly, start eating from a plate, but always sniff the food before eating. And then the kicker, which you're going to love, Sanichar in his lifetime only took one human habit. He started smoking and became a chain smoker, and it is speculated he died because of tuberculosis. So dude comes from wolves, cannot figure out being a human, not even a chance. And then, does find a pack of Marlboros. So he's all good until he's literally like our age and then dies. How awful. Crazy.
That is crazy, though. I looked up the picture, by the way.
You saw it. It's so much.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So much. There's so many questions. That's its own podcast.
I know. We got to move on from it. Dude. And you know what? The other thing I saw, he wasn't the only one found with wolves around that time. I guess 4 other children around the same area in that like year or time, let's say decade, were found being raised by wolves as well. It must have just been like a common practice. Be like, you don't like your kid, just dump it with the old wolves, the Lobos. Anyways, that I need to move on from that because I will not stop thinking about it until we stop talking about it. But I feel like I've got an adrenaline rush. It was so much information. So good. So good. Anything else about this movie before we move into the chapters?
The last thing in the making of, this is what they deemed an animators movie. Go and watch a YouTube video of just animators for Disney, current day animators just freaking out about how great Jungle Book is. And it's like, from the animator perspective, this is like the best Disney movie of all time. Really? A lot the character movement and like how the elephants felt very heavy and powerful when they moved versus like King Louie would bounce around and was kind of floating. So animators that made Tarzan like looked at the elephants and how they did this. For Scar, the animator for him looked at Shere Khan a lot. Rafiki, they had King Louie right above the animator that made Rafiki. But all of these facts, I was like, oh, okay. I respect the hell out of Jungle Book, but I had no idea that animators looked at this movie for so many of our favorite movies down the road.
Yeah, it was like their big inspiration. There's bands like that where like your favorite artist will be like, yeah, I just loved David Bowie, and you're like, why, dude? Like, I don't. That's not a great example for everyone.
Yeah, no, it's not a good. It's not a good example.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like there's some people. It's like, yeah, I just love this like indie rock band from the 30s, and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I don't listen to that, but good thing you did. Let's move on to our chapters, but quickly before we do, I do have a sponsor, and sometimes we get sponsors that I'm just like, how the absolute hell did they even know who we are? You know what I mean? Like, it's surprising. This is one of those times.
No zip codes out here.
Yeah, how do they even find Jay, dude? He's in the jungle Jay. This sponsor for today's episode is blackberries. The fruit, grapefruit. I'd even say better flavor and a decent phone. So, sometimes sour, but I'm here for all of it. Love blackberry. Actually, what the flavor I've got in my little sparkling water is blackberry right now. Just thank you so much, guys. Jay, anything about blackberries? The phone or the flavor or the berry?
I also would say that the flavor is the best.
Yeah.
Milkshakes.
Yes.
Ice cream. I'm all about any of that.
I know.
And they do like seasonal blackberry shakes are incredible. What's that place up in Portland?
Burgerville.
Yes, their blackberry shakes.
Some blackberry stuff. Yeah, they really
also a sponsor.
Yeah, not yet, but we love your blackberries. Maybe BlackBerry can connect us. Anything on the phone before we move on?
Brick
had a lot of potential.
What a great game!
So much potential, in my opinion. Just adapt with the times, BlackBerry.
Okay, if you want to do something fun, people, stop watching this and watch Steve Jobs' iPhone introduction. Have you ever watched that? The iPhone was so far in advance from everything else that existed. It's insane. He just blew BlackBerry out of the water.
Dude, like they're literally sponsoring the episode. You just sorry. Think about how shitty they were.
Green or red apple over here.
Okay, so what the movie starts with Mowgli, and he's found in the jungle by Bagheera. And Bagheera takes him to the wolves, drops him off, kind of sneaky fashion. 10 years goes by. He grows up a little bit, and then all of a sudden you realize Shere Khan is in the jungle. You see, a meeting of the minds of the wolf pack, and they say, we got to get him out of here. He's too much of a liability. So Bagheera decides to take him to the man village, starts their whole journey. Kind of some chaos ensues. They get into some shit with Kaa, the lovable yet dangerous snake. And then they go hide up in a tree, wake up to the Dawn Brigade, a big stampede / parade of elephants. And you just meet some other kooky characters. So that's chapter 1. The thing I want to talk to you about, Jay, with this chapter is just this whole concept of Bagheera leaving a baby for the wolves. And I've got just so many things about it. Number 1, the wolves are... no, let's even go back. That's a shitty thing to do, to leave a baby with any group of animals or people. But of all of the animals in the jungle, not wolves, first off, bad call. Ask whatever his name was. Like, do you find any justification in what Bagheera is doing? Do you have problems with it like I do? Like, I just could not get over it. Like, what if someone left a baby on your doorstep after you just had children? Like, I just thought it was sneaky. Didn't even talk to him about it. Let it there. Don't love it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have a lot of problems with Bagheera, especially in the first 5-10 minutes of this movie. We could spend 2 hours on it.
Yeah.
There's so... the fact that Bagheera found the baby, and did you catch the quote where he says, paraphrasing, he says something like, if I knew how much trouble this kid would cause me, I would not have engaged.
Oh,
it's
I did
brutal.
not catch that. I can remember it's it like now, but I didn't think about it.
The movie. Yeah. And he's essentially saying, at the very least, I took it to the wolf den, yeah. But I should have just walked away from this baby.
Dude, what's to say that he drops it off and the wolves just don't come out and be like, okay, this is a great opportunity to teach our newborn children how to hunt. This is a helpless piece of prey, guys. Now just go for the jugular. Like, how does he know they're not just going to start tearing it to shreds? They're wolves, and they should have potentially. Yeah, I just think it was classless, and also like he's their friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he knows them.
Do they ever even know that he's the reason that baby is there? Because he doesn't tell them. He sneaks off.
Great question.
Jungle, taps the basket to make sure it's crying, and then bails. And there's just like,
yeah, that's a great question. He ding dong ditched them.
Have a kid? Weird. Where'd that come from? I don't know. Definitely couldn't be me. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck you, Bagheera.
The baby really likes you, Bagheera.
Yeah, it feels like it's seen you before.
Shut up.
It's like it recognizes you. It's weird. It's so weird. That part to me just blows my mind.
Speaking of baby being found, have you ever picked up, because this was the first time I saw it, that he was in a broken canoe / boat?
No way.
The baby is found in a broken boat.
Oh my God. So maybe it was not an intentional dropping.
So I got a few questions there.
Oh, I've got so many questions.
Have you ever realized that? Sounds like no. 2, what is the scenario where you got to imagine that his parents were on the boat with him?
For sure.
Something happened. But what would be the scenario where 2 adults would be dead, but the baby would be alive?
Hippo.
In a shipwreck or...
For sure, hippo. Hippo encounter. You just don't know how you're going to act. Like, who's to say what rational thought is once you're face to face with a big old hippo? Like, let's say hippo comes up. You don't even know it's there. Chomps the father. He's gone. Comes up, bites the boat in half. And Ma says, oh my gosh, I better get it away from my baby. I'm done for. It's going to get the baby. And the boat goes, it chases the mom. Tragedy. No one's saying it's not a tragedy, but definitely it was a hippo, I think, if you're asking me.
I did. I think they had the shipwreck, made it to land, and none other than Shere Khan was there.
Or everyone around.
And the parents had to run to take Shere Khan away from the baby. And then Bagheera comes in.
They could do stuff with this that I would.
Oh yeah, this is why you could spend 2 hours on the first 5 minutes.
So true.
You could have the reason why Shere Khan hates humans being because of Mowgli's dad shot him or lit fire or whatever,
or his parents or something. Shere Khan's mom. Because there's just so much there, and the fact that it's never been circled back, but everything else has been, like real hardcore origin stories. Regardless, let's move back to Bagheera, because at the end of this chapter, that he runs into the elephants. And they don't like the fact that Mowgli's there. They say, get it out of here. It's not our problem. He says, I'm taking it to the man village, whatever. And then he says, and I quote, you have the word of Bagheera. Yeah, I think that's exactly what he says. And then 5 minutes later, dude's like, you know what? Fuck this kid. I'm out. And leaves. And just is like, leaves it with Baloo or somebody coming down. And it's just like, they get into a little argument and he's gone. Is Bagheera a garbage can? Deep down? That I don't realize, because I like him, and I don't know why I do when I look at his actions. I'm like, actually, you're a slime ball.
No, he's got some bad things in the past. I'm gonna hold off on answering that until we get introduced to some other characters.
Okay. Speaking of other characters, your thoughts on meeting Kaa?
I really don't like Kaa.
See, I love Kaa.
I think if I were to cut out any scene, I would cut out one of the two.
No way.
One of the two constants. You don't need two of them.
And you're saying the elephant scenes are still up on the board.
I really like the elephant scenes.
Dude, you microwave your butter. I don't want to hear about that.
I really like the elephant scenes. Okay. We haven't got to the second one, but when the mom interjects.
Yeah, good stuff.
And she stands up for Mowgli.
Good stuff. But we're talking Winnie the Pooh's voice. Like, that doesn't bring you like some kind of positive vibe?
Doesn't that just make it strange that Winnie the Pooh, like a very lovable character, is with some creep? And honestly, let's be real. If Kaa was a human, a little bit of a pedophile.
Yeah, he's got some vibes.
He's makes some weird passes at Mowgli. I know it's to eat it, but if you convert it into a human
I don't like
version,
to think that way.
It's brutal.
You're not wrong. But he isn't
too long. He's not funny. He's not scary. What is he?
He's very funny, dude. His sinuses that cracks me up. I think he's my favorite character. I think that's how far we're talking here. I think he's great.
And this is why I keep trying to focus on 1967. But a few years later, Robin Hood and the snake in Robin Hood, I like a lot more.
Tons. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's hard to argue. Maybe that's part of it.
Do you have anything else on chapter 1, or do you want to take it to chapter 2?
We can take it to chapter 2. Let's do it. So we have the meeting of Baloo, King Louie, and the orangutans. You got some songs in this chapter: Bare Necessities, I Want to Be Like You. Then Baloo and Bagheera have the argument about the man cub needing to go back to the man village. Then you have Elephant Part 2, which is much better than the Kaa Part 2 in this chapter.
Shots
and
fired.
Then you have the Shere Khan, this looming figure, finally is introduced. Watch out, he could be in the background.
He really could be.
My question is quite a dart away from everything, but have you ever had this discussion with your family or friends? Probably your family at this point. I was going to say. You don't really have friends. So
friends,
does anyone ever tell you like which Disney character you are? Or have you played that game of like, if you were a Disney character, who's most closely aligned to you?
I feel like I yell that at people in a lot of circumstances. Like I can think of
who are you, Crowded Bar? If you were a Disney character.
Recently telling a woman that she was Nala for sure, like real Nala vibes, which was a very high compliment. I think she took it as one, but I don't think it's ever been. Yeah, no, she did.
Yeah, what the hell?
But I don't think that's ever been done for me.
That's bizarre. Your family, this is a layup. When your family listens to this, you guys should.
Who everyone gives me is the guy in Tangled, but it's mostly just on aesthetic appearance. It's the guy and right now, like. I'm 100% Mowgli. Like
Floyd Ryder? Floyd.
Flynn Rider. Yeah, that's
Flynn
exactly.
Rider, yeah.
I get him a lot. Who would you get?
Okay, so
Hades.
The two characters, no, but thank you though. Jeez, that's very insulting.
2 thumbs way up.
The two most common that I get is Baloo and Shinpo from Mulan.
Those are really interesting choices. I would
not
never
based
have
on
guessed.
appearance. But when I watch Jungle Book, I think about this. I'm like, I am definitely not Baloo. When I see the scenes, like he's very hypocritical to his bare necessities.
100%.
And I think people's billboard of what they see of Baloo is bare necessities, and that's what they try to peg me into. But the one scene that I cannot disagree with is when they're with the monkeys. And they're playing I Want to Be Like You. Yeah. And they're all hiding. And a beat or music just takes over.
Yeah.
And you can't not. Like, if I am in Baloo's situation,
you're doing
I am doing the exact same thing to that exact same song.
Yeah, I know.
And I do that at weddings. I did that at Target, the retail store, this Monday. They started playing some beats. They had a great DJ up there at Target.
A Target DJ?
And I was with Lindsay just kind of bopping.
Oh, man.
And it was as if no one was in the store. I was having a great time.
That is actually a really good comp. Truthfully, there is no one else that would fit that bill more than you that I know for sure. So that actually is fair, but everything else about Baloo, I don't see.
Everything else is close to an insult.
There's just, I don't know.
They don't know me.
That's still good. Here's my question to you. In this scene, obviously, we've got the intro to Baloo. Huge deal. He is, obviously your spirit animal. Your initial thoughts on him? Do you like him? Obviously, for me, there's so many voices loaded up with him. You know him from so many other, instances. But what do you like? If this is the first time you're ever, I try to look at it the same way that you have been. Like, this is the first time you've ever met this person. So what do you think of this guy?
Baloo stock every time I rewatch this movie goes down.
Nice.
As a kid, I would have really liked him.
I thought he was the coolest.
Yeah. And then each time you see him, it's like, again, he's hypocritical. He doesn't live his bare necessities life. He has a weird control thing with Man Cub.
Yeah, it does a lot of posturing.
Well, it's like you need your own friends, like you adopted this random cat and the cat needs to go somewhere. Like you need to meet humans. That's the person like reference to all this, but he needs his own peeps and needs to have friends and stand up on something other than this Mowgli child.
Yeah, he's really, you can tell it's like a midlife crisis situation.
Yeah, exactly. He's not actually
just found, so Baloo's like buying a motorcycle for him right now. Like he's just like, oh yeah, dude, you're like, let's just do everything together now. And like, let's see how cool I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's not good. There's a point
do you like him?
Yeah, but no, like I see him, you feel for the guy, but also you're like, it's just a fall from grace because he is like the coolest. I remember you recently talked to me about watching Mrs. Doubtfire again for the first time in a long time.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, when I was a child, I was like, dude, they're being so mean to him. He's so cool. And then now that you watch as an adult, you're like, this guy's a real piece of shit. Like,
Sally Fields.
I can't even imagine.
Sally Fields' side is the moment you become an adult.
There's a Baloo factor there for me where I'm like, as a kid, I was like, dude, so chill, so cool, great dancer. What could you more like down with whatever? And now I'm like, you're an idiot, like let's think about everyone else in the situation and yourself. Like you're kind of a loser, but at the same time, what are you going to do?
It's like that like deadbeat relative that you think is so cool when you're young,
and then you realize
like you're just a piece of shit that doesn't have a job and doesn't do anything for society, and you're mean.
He was that. He was
go about your high school football.
Yes,
but, that's not anyone specific. Let me make that clear. But
Jay's uncle's
I'm looking at you,
dude.
Talking about.
Yeah, he's just playing ping pong with you,
the
dude.
Jungle.
Yeah, dude, you're doing so well. There's a point, and I legitimately think I pinpointed this time, when Mowgli is laughing and he does this double arm cross belly laugh. And I think that is exactly the moment where I start to hate him. And I think up until that moment, it's probably 15, 20 minutes in. And you're like, at this point, you're like, oh, lots happening to Mowgli. But the moment he does this like giggle, and I'm like, oh, I hate him. Sorry. And then I hate him for the rest of the movie. Yeah.
I don't disagree with the result, but the reasoning is a bit strange.
It's like it rubs me the wrong way, and it unlocks everything else. Like it makes everything previous make sense differently. I don't know what it is, but it's a moment for me. And he just does this like, and I'm like, oh no. Oh, that's the moment. That's the moment right there. Like it's powerful.
Wow.
It's powerful. Yeah.
Okay. This might ostracize like half of our 3 listeners. Actually,
we have a new listener.
Let's say
we
4.
Got my mom,
yeah, let's
young
say 4.
Leo, and my recent addition, my cousin's wife, Meg.
Hey, we'll take it. We'll take it
all. Absolutely.
So I want to know,
this is for you.
Is it wrong to say that anyone who thinks Bare Necessities is a better song than I Want to Be Like You, that you shouldn't connect with them for the rest of their life?
100%.
Right?
100%.
Okay. I just want to do a quick gut check.
You're right. So much so, and I want to, put the exclamation point on that. Where does I Want to Be Like You rank for you all time if you had to estimate? Because I started to feel some crazy thoughts listening to that song. Like that one got me going. I was like, shit, this is good.
Yeah, I was in a lull when I was rewatching this, and every time that song comes on, it just puts you in such a great
mood. Good mood, great scatting.
I did a top 100 songs of all time, Disney songs and non-Disney songs. I think that made my top 100.
That's really
so, which means that there was about 10 of them that were Disney, 10 to 15. So it's in the top 10.
That's a mathematical way to approach it.
It's such a great song that even if you didn't see this movie, you would love it.
Yeah, that's a good song.
If you had never seen a Disney movie. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just something about that whole scene. King Louie, the man.
The lyrics are amazing.
The lyrics are awesome. They're deep. They're like, make sense. The whole reason for the song makes sense.
Yeah.
And it didn't need to. Like, it didn't need to. When I was a kid, I didn't realize what he was actually asking for. And I was like,
dude, this slaps. I love this song. Yeah. Rewind the VHS.
We're listening to it again. Like, I was all about it.
You know that scene when King Louie's holding up the one pillar?
Yeah. Dude, also,
to me, he is holding up this movie for me.
Wow.
Without this scene, I get close to, I at least dislike it. I would never say I hate it or anything, but King Louie in that scene really just holds up the whole movie for me. That I can't have like bad feelings about Jungle Book because of that one song.
Yeah, you can't sweep him in there. It's like a really good player on a dying franchise. You're like, dude, you don't deserve that.
Yeah.
I wish you get traded to a different movie. But at the same time, awesome. And I will say, as much as you don't like some of the other characters, and I respect how much they're developed. With Baloo, let's say, because we were just talking mad shit on him, when the monkeys are like legit undressing him like just like in a boxing ring, like just having their way with him. Like I remember as a child feeling very uncomfortable with that, like really, really upset by just the sheer level of embarrassment, as well as, them getting one over on him. That's still kind of like, there's a part of me watching this now where I'm just like, damn, man, like go easy on him. Like they like mess his life. Like you think about that for years. Like, dude, if you got jumped and just like tossed
by
around,
a bunch of monkeys.
Yes, dude.
I would rather get jumped by humans, even if there was more pain. I do not want a bunch of monkeys just
they have a
flamboyance.
Yeah, they've got like a flamboyant. They've got like a love for the craft that comes through when they're like beating the shit out of you. It feels
like the monkeys in Jumanji. Like imagine that. It's just too much.
Okay. Big question. You alluded to it. I don't want to have too much time spend, between when you said it first and now. Obviously, this movie lures itself to many origin stories. My question is, and now I kind of feel like I know what the answer will be, but like, would you rather see an origin story of young Baloo or young Shere Khan if you had to pick?
Oh, of course, young Shere Khan. If you go back and listen to the Dumbo podcast that we did, we said, well, most of the animals actually, they just showed the mom
single parent,
and the son.
There
were a couple. There were the tiger.
Mm-hmm,
he stayed around.
Yeah,
Shout out to Shere Khan.
Shout out to Shere Khan. That could be the birth of Shere Khan right there. That would be such a dope.
See, yeah, I'm in
I
for
would
all
love
that.
this.
And the reason why Shere Khan hates man so much is because he got relocated to India from America.
Yes.
And was captured and all that.
I love it.
That Shere Khan could be that little cub that got dropped off in this.
Refception. I love that. The real question for me is Shere Khan, rising stock, falling stock. Where are you?
Rising every time I see him, and I'm
skyrocketing.
Not doing
Dogecoin level.
I don't know those things, but I'm in the jungle, man. I don't even know what a dollar is.
What's currency?
Yeah. I am really big into that, but I don't know. What about for you?
Oh, I think he's great. I think he's so great, and like I think as a villain,
he's not a villain. That's the point. That's why I didn't.
He's a tiger.
But yeah, that's why I didn't do the villain section in this podcast, because I'm intentionally saying he's not a villain.
Oh, you're making a statement.
Yes.
You're saying
he's an animal.
He's an animal. He's a tiger. He's a tiger. Yeah. Tigers do what tiger.
And technically, Mowgli is in the pot that he shouldn't be. You know, he's in the jungle.
Get out of there. Yeah, that's true. Get out of there, Jay. My thing is he does swear to kill man. Simply, it says with a vengeance, which really makes me want to know what's, happened previously. But the fact that you don't even see him for an hour of this movie, pretty much, and that his whole persona is just built off of like the way that people talk about him is so badass that when he actually gets there, you're like, dude, he is like running the show, and he's like super sophisticated.
Such a good point.
Polite, so polite, and like name something to dislike about him other than the fact that he's a tiger and does what tigers do.
No, I wish he would have taken out Kaa. I could have been fine having that end differently.
Hot take. Kaa is the most powerful animal in the jungle, bar none.
Oh, because he can hypnotize everyone.
Dude, what if snakes could actually do that? Like, can you imagine? No, can you imagine like what an issue they would be? Would we have exterminated them? Like, if you could just be walking on the street and all of a sudden just be like, oh shit, no, because a snake looked at you in the eyes. Garden snakes, you're doing some like whatever, and just like, oh gosh, help, and then you have no more chance, and they just like start sleeping.
Yeah,
dude, that could be a real problem. Kaa could take out anyone. Even Shere Khan doesn't want to give him time of day.
No, I know, but that's what's awesome is he just shuts him down. Like he tries it on him. That's a really great point. That one I've never put together is that the word of mouth of Shere Khan.
He's mythical.
Everything you need to know by the time you actually see him.
He's a legend. They don't have to show him doing bad things.
It's amazing.
He's already like that guy. You know?
It's a little like in Jaws, how they don't show the shark for so long that the anticipation is so scary.
Good comp. I love that. Do you have anything else on chapter 2, or should we move on to the last one?
No, let's do it.
Also, I will say the first scene with Shere Khan, he's like hunting a deer, which looks like it came straight out of Bambi. Yeah, 100%. But deer aren't in jungles.
I think that every time.
And I looked it up, and it's not.
Yeah,
they're not in there.
Every time I see that scene too, I'm like, what? Why is the deer there? It's so out of place.
I look at it and I'm just like,
maybe that antelope.
The animation looks not right, and then also the fact that the deer is there. And I looked it up. I was like, do deer even live in jungles? And they're like, oh, I mean, technically deer could be anywhere. And I was like, but are they? And then I saw like hunter captures rare jungle deer, and I was like, no way, dude.
Yeah. Or you have that conversation with Ask Jeeves. You're like, no, but really, do they?
No, but don't bullshit me, Jeeves. Do they live in the jungle in India?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Chapter
3 starts off, I think Mowgli's come off of his experience with Kaa. He almost got, clapped. The tone shifts. I'm thinking it's the last 20 minutes of the movie. And tone shifts. It's dark. It's scary. The vultures are there. They have their, discussions with Mowgli. They laugh at him for not having feathers. He's all, upset about it, whatever. And then Shere Khan comes. A big fight ensues. Baloo gets his ass kicked. And then fire happens to come to a nearby tree via lightning. Mowgli ties a branch to the end of Shere Khan's tail. Everyone's saved for the time being. And then Mowgli's going to stay in the jungle until he sees an absolute dime piece getting water at the river, singing her song, and decides, actually, you know what? Maybe the village isn't so bad. Goes in there, movie ends, close curtains, fiend. So, first off, what's your opinion of Mowgli? Scale 1 to 10. For me, he's a 3.
2?
Yeah. 2
at the strongest.
Yeah. Okay.
He's one of my least favorite characters ever.
Cannot stand him, even though I look like just like him right now, plus a beard. I look like Mowgli if I had come.
You don't. You don't.
I do, dude. People tell me that.
You're trying to pull it off. Stop trying to make it work.
All right, Baloo. you look like Shin Po, dude. Here's the thing. Do you think that if Mowgli moved differently and was animated differently, that we would like him differently?
No.
You think it has soul to do with his character?
Soul to do with his character.
Wow. See, part of me was like, I just don't think I like the way he laughs. I don't think I like the way he does stuff.
Coming off of Sword in the Stone, we had Arthur.
I didn't feel that way about Wart. So you're right.
I'm not saying that bad, but he's somewhere in the middle, like a C. Mowgli is worse.
Yeah.
Like Mowgli is the character you just care the least amount, and he's the what you use this term like MacGuffin.
Yeah, I cannot believe you remember that. That was like a year ago.
I know. It stays with me.
Wow, that really stays with me.
I had never heard you sound so smart, so I was like, wow, that's.
I went to college. I took a class on it.
Looking up real Mowgli's over there.
The only thing I remember. Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, I really dislike him. I think if you were going to improve this movie, there's 2 aspects: make Mowgli better, but then I got a heavy hitter for you coming right back at you.
Okay.
If Walt was on his deathbed and told you to come to the ear. Yeah. And he says,
Harrison, how should this new movie Jungle Book end?
What would you say?
Wow. I think I would say for sure. Well, I love what you've done so far. Clean out some of that middle.
He's dying. Okay. You got to get to this quick.
Oh my God. All right, we're losing it.
His wife is waiting.
Mowgli lives a happy life in the village, and his kids are friends with the animals he used to be friends with.
Wow.
But I want that time in the village. Well, give me the time in the village. Oh, we've lost him. Also, Baloo dies. What would you say?
Baloo should have died there.
Baloo should have died.
Yeah.
Big time. Should have died.
And it's not like, they're hating on Baloo. This is a better movie if he does die.
It's a better, and it makes more sense because literally Shere Khan was teeing off on him for like 5 minutes, just like painting a picture. Yes, dude, like enjoying it, like really. And then Baloo's just like had a mark on. God, he was feeling it, man. He was saying, "I am a tiger right now." He was doing work, and then all of a sudden Baloo's like, I was knocked out.
I guarantee the ending I'm about to say is
better
than how this movie actually ended. Okay,
let's hear it.
I think about Jungle Book ending a lot. In the making of, all of the writers and director, they admit they didn't know how to end this movie.
Yeah.
And they came up with the idea of having the girl, and it's like, oh yeah, I guess that's like a bridge that we could go.
Full circle in a way.
But what if, as Shere Khan is attacking Mowgli, what if the wolf pack comes back in?
I already love it.
Texts Mowgli and says, no, you are one of us.
Wow. They'd be like out of nowhere, though. So sick, though. And where was the wolf pack? And where was Bagheera? That's another great question I've got about that end fight. Where the fuck was Baggy? I love the wolf pack coming back.
Yeah.
They're like the launching pad, and then they're just never there. They could have been a big deal. Aquila, sick. Love
Aquila is cool.
Rama,
great name
cool
too.
Also, I would even say the wolf couple is doing better than a lot of the couples we've talked about. They have
the most structure.
They had their shit together. They knew how to take on kids. Anyway.
Again, I tried to stay in 1967 when I watched this. However, Tarzan completely ruined this movie.
Whoa.
Tarzan, the whole concept is, even if you aren't my blood son, you are our family.
Yeah, your family.
And you got Phil Collins singing at the top of his lungs on how important the family is.
Deepest depths of his soul, yeah.
Everything in this movie was like, hey, I love you, but you're not one of us, and you need to keep moving. To me, there's no heart in this movie, and maybe that's the jungle.
Oh, that's the jungle, baby.
A lot of people have been pretty mean to me, so maybe that is the jungle.
I'm constantly attacked.
But yeah, Tarzan ruined this movie is the simplest way I can put
That's
it.
a hot
take.
The
family values is the reverse of Jungle Book.
Mm.
It's almost like they were like, hey, what if we did Jungle Book, but actually
gave it some emotion.
This character be part of the family, be part of this ape family.
Yeah,
they're very similar stories.
Makes me excited to get to Tarzan, to be honest. It really does.
Yeah, we got a long time.
We do have a long time. Transitioning to the Vultures, I'm sure you know that the Beatles were supposed to do it.
Yeah.
And apparently, like, scheduling conflicts, and John Lennon said he didn't want to be a part of an animated movie. And I just want to say, this John Lennon guy, if he doesn't watch his mouth and be a little bit more careful about who he's pissing off, something's going to happen to him.
Watch it.
I'm just saying. It's not going to be me. God forbid. I'm just saying, you can't just talk this way about the Walt Disney Company and expect nothing's going to go wrong. So I don't know who he is, but he better watch his back.
Yeah, what's the statute of limitations on something like that? Like Titanic jokes, like
it's time. It's time.
It's time to fly.
Yeah, it's absolutely time. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. We got to zoom in on one of the most impactful parts of this whole movie for me. Girl,
you don't mean
in the village.
You don't mean
singing My Own Home.
You don't mean a sweet segment that I like to look forward to and call Music Time with Jay. The part of the podcast where Jay takes a deep dive on some of these songs. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and
My Own
it's
Home
also like story time with like Uncle Jay. I'm gonna go off to left field first, and then I'll come back.
All right.
I am riding my bicycle in San Francisco 5 years ago. I have a Disney playlist on Spotify. Check it out. It's like 300 songs of all full albums of all of these classic Disney movies. Okay. Yeah. I just put on shuffle and ride. One day I'm riding. It does happen to be raining. Imagine.
I could see it.
And this song came on. And sometimes the song will come on and I'm like, oh, this is an instrumental. I think it's from Aristocats, but not quite sure. This was a lyrical song that I could not identify what movie this was in. It had been a long time since I'd seen Jungle Book. And the song comes on. I'm loving it. My own home. And I had to stop on my bicycle to look at what this was. It was in Jungle Book. And I never remember that this song is pretty much the way that this movie ends. It's also the theme of Jungle Book.
Yeah.
The instrumentals play in between scenes. Time.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And I think it is I almost want to say, and I don't throw these types of accolades out, it's almost the most underrated Disney movie or Disney song of all time.
Whoa!
No one knows it.
No one knows it. I think sheerly because of how not even underrated, like not rated. It's not even ranked.
It's not on people's radars.
The fact that it could go, you're the guy who's listening to 300 song Disney playlists and you would come up to it and be like, what is that? That shows you where that's at in the standing.
Yeah. And
you wouldn't know.
And so how I want it in normal life.
Oh yeah.
Very quick and easy. You come to my door, you ring the doorbell. It's a song that plays outside the house and inside. Instrumentals. Instrumentals. Yeah.
Oh my God. That'd be creepy though at like 3 a.m. if someone was to happen to like
I know. I thought about the creepiness factor.
It depends on the instrumentals that you're using. If they were like large brass, maybe, but if it was like pan flute, I'd feel a little worried. And you know what? You probably have the capability to do that.
I thought about this.
Yeah,
I have Ring.
You've probably got a Ring. I was going to say, you got a Ring, dude. You could do it.
Yeah.
Just make it something cool. Like, get back to us. We'll film a little like other segment of Jay's doorbell. Oh, I love it.
Ringing the doorbell.
It is impressive with that. Thank you for that segment, by the way, of Music Time with Jay. I do with that girl. I remember being hot and bothered by her as a child, as is no surprise, I'm sure. I just thought she was very alluring, and she's got game. She's got that, like, oh, you just noticed me, yet still finish my song confidence. You know what I mean? Like if you're singing to yourself at a river and you recognize like that someone's heard, you're like, oh, whoops. But she's like, oh, you were hearing that? Well, listen to verse 2. Like it was just very impressive to me. And she's what, 14, 11?
Yeah, I was gonna say they're probably the same age.
Sure. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. Yeah, I respected it. I respected the game for sure. Did you like the idea of him getting back to the village, or would you think it'd be better for him to be back in the jungle with you?
I think it's better to be in the jungle.
Yes.
I think it goes against every family value. But if you put yourself in 1967, that probably was the norm, like value.
I was going to say, I don't think there's a lot of...
You know what I mean? It's much more like a modern take on it.
For sure. I was like, this is still 1967, so who knows what they were about. But
well, going back to your question of do you like Bagheera? As Bagheera and Baloo are walking off together, singing Bare Necessities, and the movie ends, to me, I want to know your moral of the story, but for me, every time I watch this, it's you need a little Bagheera and a little Baloo in your life. You don't want all of one.
That's actually good.
It is. You do want some aspects of your life and personality and how decision making. You want a little bit, both of them blended.
If there's one thing you can take from this movie, it's the like balance between fun and reason. And I don't think that that's displayed anywhere better than what I think has got to be the first like legitimate logical argument that's happens in Disney between Bagheera and Baloo. It goes on for like 3 minutes where they have like an actual opposition of viewpoints and they like discuss rationally why they think they're right. And I was like, this is like actually very, part of me was thinking, and I don't even know how much time I want to spend on this, but like, you know how after the fact, sometimes authors don't sue us, will come out and be like, oh yeah, Dumbledore was gay or something.
Whoa. I can't do any spoilers, by the way. I haven't finished it. I'm like 4 books in, so please.
Okay, well shit.
But we'll
edit it in post.
No,
My point is I could definitely see Baloo and Bagheera being a target for something like that. Because that whole like, you wouldn't marry a panther, would you? And then he's like, maybe like, what would you?
You wouldn't marry a panther, would you? I don't know. Come to think of it, no panther ever asked me.
Yeah. I don't know. But like they have like such a nice relationship. I could just see someone spinning that. If Walt was alive, maybe he'd get with the program and be like, actually, you know how with it I was.
I actually, it crossed my mind.
Did it really?
Yeah, no, it did.
I thought you were going to not even be on the same.
It was very subconscious, but I thought like, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Overall, I mean, the movie happened.
One's not.
Yeah. So what are you going to do? I've got a trivia question for you. It's about Kaa. At one point, he says, he gets crumpled and he says, my sacroiliac. Do you know what that is?
No.
Yeah, it's like your spine. It's actually specifically denoting the rigid joint at the back of the pelvis between the sacrum and the ilium. But for people
which snakes don't have, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure they don't. Also, Shere Khan is not dead, like at all.
No.
He got a branch tied to his tree.
Alive in Jungle
The rain
too.
Started. Is he actually?
I mean, what's canon, but yeah. He is.
I just think he would have come back and be like, oh, unfortunately, it's not a thunder and lightning storm right now. So it looks like everyone's getting fucked up. So what up? I'm back, baby. Okay, let's move to our favorite categories. I think the song is obvious for me, at least. It's I Want to Be Like You, and it should be for you too.
Yeah.
Favorite character, yours is obviously Kaa. Mine is as well. Who would you say if it wasn't Kaa?
King Louis.
King Louis is so good.
Yeah.
He's almost too obvious though. Like, I think for me, it's a tie between Kaa and Shere Khan because they're dynamic and they changed for me over time. For you, what was your favorite scene of this whole movie?
I Want to Be Like You.
Yeah, it's tough to get.
Honestly, though, you bringing up that real conversation Disney, brilliant point. You're spot on that conversation really hasn't happened before, and it could be one of my favorite scenes.
I will be looking for that kind of a tone in every movie we do from now on because it's so like there was a part of me that watched that and was like, I would like to be able to argue like this, and like I'd like to find someone that I could argue with this. Like I want what these two gay best friends have because honestly, like they're so controlled and logical and totally disagreeing, but like it's such a nice argument that's like intellectual and logical, but also emotional and heartfelt. And I was like, this is just, they're nailing it. And I don't think they do it again. I can't think of it, but I'm going to be watching. You can
take your feet off of two Dalmatian tales. Pongo and Purdy have real conversations,
real convos, but arguments.
Like what possibly would she want with them?
She couldn't possibly love them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's the same level, but it's there.
No. This is 3 minutes long, so it's definitely not the same level, but I would like us both to be looking for that kind of a staple. Mine is the interaction between Shere Khan and Kaa for sure. I just think that that's my two favorite characters interacting in a way that I think is pretty funny.
That's fun.
Quote for you.
Come on, Baggy, get with the beat. Which love that he calls Bagheera Baggy.
God, how usable for you too.
I've never picked up on that before, and I loved it.
Oh, come on, Baggy.
And this should have been on the poster. Can a guy make one mistake? Bagheera, not in the jungle.
Ooh, that's pretty nice, dude. We should make shirts that say that in the back says "not in the jungle."
Ooh. God, I love that.
Pretty good. I think mine is I should have gone first because mine was just when you said, "Come on, Baggy, get with the beat," you could use that at your next wedding. You know, like someone's like, you're like, "I'm gonna go dance." You're like, no, stay here. You're like, "Come on, Baggy, get with the beat," which is good because it'll be like, what the hell does Baggy mean?
Yeah, is that an insult?
For me, I just think I could use "I'm gone, man, solid gone." I thought that was pretty good.
It's so similar to Lil Jon's line in Robin Hood of
100%
gold, solid gold.
Solid gold. Yeah. Which, I mean, luckily we're doing
that's a whole nother topic.
Because if I would watch this after Robin Hood, Baloo would be dead to me, but whatever.
You should have been dead to this movie, but keep going.
Wow, we shit on him this hour. I feel like she's kind of guilty about it. He's a good guy.
Don't.
Is this movie worth a rewatch if you're in our position?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yes, across the board. If you've never seen it, if you haven't seen it in a long time.
Should you grow up on this movie? Should you show your children?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
As a rewatch, it's almost more important because I think that when you're an adult, these characters, which are really well developed and you have opinions on as children, they change and you can't guess how they will. Each person will look at this and feel differently about the characters once they're 30. And I think that alone is more interesting than most of the rewatches that just get worse or that aren't as stressful. I think this is a good one. They really went in on the characters and it shows. And then, grow up on this shit, dude. Look at me. I look like the main character now. If I had worn those shorts, everything would be over and I'd be back in the jungle with Jay, baby. Oh.
You just knocked over your VHS.
I know, I saw that. I wonder which one it was. Oh, it was just Lion King. No worries.
Yeah, God.
Okay.
My heart's hurting.
Let's move on to our playground pick'em. Here's what we're gonna do, Jay. You're gonna have to. So because these characters are so well developed, you're gonna go out on the town. Let's say it's a city of your choosing. Let's say New York City.
Let's just do Vegas.
Let's say Las Vegas. Real. Sure. You're going out in Vegas. It's gonna be a night. You know, like it's going to be like a full out bender. Yeah. And you are going with two of your boys or girls from this movie. And I'm going to pick one for you. And then you're going to have to pick the one that comes with. And so the trick is, obviously these are animals. This is going to be the human counterpart to this person. So this character, exactly like they even resent, like the kind of thing where you'd see this person in a bar and be like, you look familiar. And it's just because you know who Bagheera is, but like they act the exact same. They talk the same. They look like, are you Bagheera? Yeah. So my pick for you first. I'm definitely going to put you with Kaa because I think you hate him. I think it's funny and he's kind of pedophile and he's a weird guy, but also really funny. And I think in the right circumstances, who knows what he's like drunk, which he definitely is getting hammered. And I'm very curious to see who you think an acceptable accomplice to Kaa would be on your big night out in Vegas. What do you say, Jay?
I'm going to go Shere Khan.
Whoa.
You know, I think it's called Spin Tales, the TV show, the cartoon.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I don't know anything about it.
Okay, it's a Disney cartoon in the early 90s. Baloo is in it. Shere Khan is in it. He's wearing a suit. It's not like
a bad memory. I don't love this.
Yeah, so Shere Khan
I do remember that
has a suit and everything. And I just see him as getting into all the like VIP places.
Just that guy.
Cutting lines. And he's also going to keep Khan check.
Weirdly networked, I bet.
Because you said Khan, I have to go Shere Khan because he's going to
into a corner.
Else. And it's just the yin to the yang there.
That's actually a really good counter.
I think they both would suck.
Are you having a good time with them?
Be fun. No,
sure?
No, I wouldn't have a good time.
You don't think Shere Khan gets hammered, hits a couple nice runs at the blackjack table? He's not.
I wouldn't enjoy.
I feel like he has
going out would be
a finer taste. You know what I mean? And I feel like once if he had some money, and I feel like he'd be weirdly networked, like he'd know people at bars. Like, have you even been to Vegas before? He's like,
I know, but none of that stuff I'm interested in. I should have just chose someone else. I just don't think either of them are gonna.
Not gonna be.
It's a bad pick. I've never admitted that before, but I should have.
Watching you implode 50 seconds after your pick. How good? Okay, you pick one.
Okay. I'm gonna go.
There's an obvious.
I'm gonna go Mowgli.
I knew that was it. Like, of course, that's the shittiest thing. So Mowgli's definitely gonna be the guy I'm having to take care of.
He just turned. He's like 16 with the fake ID.
Oh no, he's young.
Yeah, first time to Vegas. He's never drank before, and he thinks he's awesome. Drives a BMW.
Oh my god,
rich family.
Yeah.
No shade to BMWs or anything, but you can just see this kid.
Shame to this kid though. If you're feeling like you're resonating with what Jay's saying, fuck you, dude. Like, that's just the way it is. Also, we appreciate you listening. I think to counter. And I feel very similar to you. I don't want to pick this guy, but I think I've got to pick. No, I can't, dude. I'm thinking Bagheera because he might, but he's just going to yell. He's vague. This is going to go off. Dude, I'm just going to lean in.
You have one bad person. The other one doesn't work.
I'm going to lean in and say King Louie because
I should have chosen him.
I think we're both going to end up having to look for him at the end of the night at like 3 a.m. and be like, dude, did we just kill a 16-year-old kid?
King Louie would be way more fun than Shere Khan.
So at least
I'm going to defend for you.
Yeah,
that's a better night out for me than like getting VIP or any of that crap that I mentioned
Imagine
earlier.
Coming.
He was just my client. I had to defend him, but now that we're out of the courtroom, I'm so on.
Now that you've lost the case, yeah. I think I'm just at least going to have a good time.
Shout out to Matthew McConaughey.
Shout out to Matthew McConaughey. Thank you so much, Matthew, for your continued support of our podcast, but mostly BlackBerry. Okay, I love that, and that is hilarious. I love how you imploded, and I will never forget this, and luckily it's on film.
Yeah,
let's toast this movie, Jay.
Let's do it.
You want to go first or me?
Oh man, you can't really see. Yes, Mickey's in the jungle.
How'd you even get a mug into a jungle like that, dude?
Yeah, there we go. In 1967, I understand why this movie was so impactful. And it was the animator's movie that made some of my favorite characters was all based on this. So cheers to that.
Cheers to that. That's a really reasonable toast. A toast to the jungle, to books also. To the fact that snakes can't hypnotize people, and everything else in this movie besides Mowgli burn forever. Toast.
Besides Mowgli, he's the starter of my fire.
Fuck him, dude.
Man's red fire.
Not a fan. That brings us to the end of our discussion on this Disney classic. Jay, what do we have next time?
Yeah, we have Aristocats.
You were so close to saying Aristocrats.
I know. I cannot do it. Yeah, but we got Aristocats coming up.
Something we will learn about Jay in the future. He cannot say Aristocats without a lot of effort. I know. But you know what? We got a lot of time to prepare. We will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening. Shout out to all of our 4 fans. We appreciate you so much. See you next time. And yeah, I loved it. Obviously, this one's had some wear. Like, it's definitely been used and abused, but
yeah, mine too. I watched it a lot as a kid.
Okay, so I just looked into this, and there's a Post-it note on here that I think my sister's written. It says